Hello and welcome to the latest instalment of the Little Pot of Horrors, the best idea since premarital sex on Halloween. As always, I am Mr. Goggs, and as always, I am joined by the wonderful Mr. Boz. Hello, sir.
Hello. How are you?
How are you today? Oh, I'm good, thank you.
I got you up early today, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Just a little bit.
We did a little something before recording this to wake him up, because he was a bit, yeah.
Yeah, that would have made for a very bad show, people.
It was 7 o'clock in the morning, I do apologise.
That's okay, the joys of transatlantic recording.
Yeah.
As always, we do have a piece of feedback to start off on the show with, and Mr. Boz, I'm going to hand it to you.
Yeah, it's feedback. It's not come through the traditional channels, so those of you who are on the Facebook group will have seen this already, but because of the tone of the message, I'm taking it as feedback. Plus, there's a bit at the end I quite liked. This is from somebody called Tim Ipoc. He says, "Hey guys, I've been listening to the podcast for a while now, and I just wanted to let you know I really enjoy it. Thanks for all the movie recommendations. You've shed light on a bunch of movies I haven't heard about. I look forward to many years of listening to your podcast and watching great horror movies. Thanks again." Years, we'll keep going for years. P.S. Piranha was awesome. Shark Night was horrible. My new favourite listener. Chalk one up for me.
I think we're even then. What about even, I think?
We should do some polls, official polls, I think.
I think we do have to get an official poll out there, yes.
Maybe we'll lead up to it and make it a bigger deal than it actually is.
Quite possibly.
You know, just like about 3 months of trailers and build-up. And the biggest poll ever that's ever been seen. No.
Yeah, we'll get the X Factor guy in to voice it.
Yes!
That'd be awesome.
Oh, apparently that all finished last night. I have not watched it this year, thankfully.
And even though it's still going.
Apparently so.
Well, you know who the number one will be next week, people.
Yeah.
Or by the time this comes out, it'll be in the past.
Yes.
So, hope you enjoyed your X Factor number one.
Yeah.
Just so you know, people, if the recording schedule goes or the edit schedule goes according to plan, you still have a week left to get your competition entries in.
Oh, yes.
So remember, T-shirt, exclusive, limited edition T-shirt. There are only currently 2 in the world, and you could be getting the maybe 4th or 5th one. Shh, don't tell people that.
Sorry.
Okay, there are 2 with the misspelled bits in the world. And then, so that's still technically there's only 2 left in the world, because there's 2 that we've got, and then there's 2 with the right spelling. Is that correct?
No.
Oh, you got.
I did an initial run of 4, but there's only 4.
Okay.
There is only 4.
Okay, that's fine. So it's still single digits, so it's still very highly limited edition.
And there's a lot of awesome free games if you're a
Yes.
gamer. So yeah, just it doesn't have to be an essay. You know, just a rough outline of a funny idea. It could be 4 or 5 lines, honestly, and that could be enough to win it for you. So you know, make an effort.
Let's just kick it off as we always do with what we've been watching. In fact, no, I don't want to do that.
Oh,
I want to change it up a little bit.
okay.
Because I've been meaning to talk about this for a while, and I keep forgetting.
Mm-hmm.
And this particular movie is getting a lot of marketing buzz lately, and I wish it would just die. And that particular movie is Paranormal Activity, the Marked Ones, or something like that. Okay, so I'm done. I'm really done with it now. I have...
I'm sorry, that was what you were saying. You didn't really need to say anything else with that tone of voice.
Yeah. I've watched the trailer. Nah. I'm out. Ends at 4 with me. I don't know what they're trying to do with this. I'm assuming, that's not true. I'm assuming they're now trying to revive a franchise and put it in a different direction. Or something, but yeah. Done.
Stopped at 3 for me.
4 was good.
4 had no merit.
It had an Xbox with lots of little green dots everywhere.
Yes, but it didn't have a plot to point. It didn't have a reason for existence. It didn't enhance the thread of the other 3 movies. It was completely superfluous. In fact, I still don't understand who the little boy is. It's that ambiguous. And I'm not watching it again. So
Yeah, I keep getting myself confused about that as well.
yeah. So, yeah. train wreck.
I will watch it again. It's on Netflix, so I'll watch it again.
Well, I am always a martyr, and I do have this thing about horror films at the cinema. So I do, even if it's possibly going to be a complete disaster, I unfortunately do like to support it because it's putting the genre up there. I know some people would say, well, this kind of film is bad for the image of the genre, but it's like, whatever. It's always going to be there. There's always going to be some releases, but if you don't support these ones, then others might not get funding. So it's a bit of a tricky sort of area, but I do like to catch stuff at the cinema when it's horror related. So I will put myself through the mill, and I will feedback and let you know what I thought.
I look forward to it. As long as I don't have to watch it, then that's absolutely fine. Unless you're going to tell me it's another. You must watch this movie.
Yeah, I might just lie. Actually, that'd be really funny.
Don't do that. That'd be really weird. If I spend money on this, I spent a lot of money on VHS 2, and I want it back. So I'm not having another one on that. We will do VHS and VHS 2 at some point, people.
I could be a complete bastard and say, you have to see this movie, so much so I'm PayPaling you the money to go and see it, and then it's just terrible.
If it's your money I'm spending, then that's absolutely fine.
Yeah, but it's 2 hours of your life you'll never get back. It's like somebody stabbing you with a tiny little knife. Sorry.
That's very true.
That's a Henry Rollins reference. Ah, dear. Talking of cinema, that does lead in nicely to, I have been to the cinema recently. I went to see the Carrie remake.
Oh, yes, so you did.
This was always such a peaceful town.
I don't want to use the word conspiracy, but that's what it's looking like.
Her mother was a fanatic. I don't know how she lived with her.
She believes something supernatural having to give her defies logical explanation.
There's one thing no one seems to understand. She wasn't some monster. She was just a girl.
And
I didn't hate it. Now,
that's what I've been hearing from a lot of people.
I have to preface it with I haven't seen the original Carrie since I was about 13 or 14 or something.
Yeah.
So my memory was sketchy, the original. But it did seem to line up fairly well with that. But I know the criticism of it has been that it does that too much. I think it tried to keep the old guard a little bit too happy. I think they were a little bit scared to push the boundaries and change some things. Okay. But if you do like, then put an original spin on it, there's nothing that original about it. Yeah, but if you do something original with it, then everyone goes, oh, the original's so much better. Yeah. I don't think you'll get that whatever happens. To be honest, I don't know what else they could have done with it, other than a fairly faithful reimagining with better special effects, which they did. Moretz was, I think, brilliant in the role, very convincing. Mm-hmm. And Julianne Moore plays her mother. She always, as ever, crackled on screen. And the sort of the famous bit where she gets the thing happens to her on stage. I won't say too much in case some people have never seen it and do want to see it. But there's just a point where she just flattens the entire room. And that bit was a little bit goosebumpy, I found. Because that's the sort of thing they couldn't do in the original because it didn't have the effects. And it was so well done. And the anger crackling off her is just, she plays that really quite well. There's possibly a little bit too much of tilting her head to the side to look, that I'm upset, I'm not normal, I'm powerful, I'm going to tilt sideways and look at you sideways.
Yes.
Possibly a little bit too much of that, and possibly a little bit too much handy waving. But how else are you supposed to pretend you've got telekinetic powers?
Yeah, very true.
So yeah, I didn't detest it, but I couldn't say I loved it either. It is very middle of the road, but it certainly wasn't a waste of money. I'm struggling to know what else to say about it, really.
Yeah, I've been listening to and reading some reviews on it, and it seems to be everyone's a bit like, okay, it's pointless, because if you're almost going to do an exact remake, then just go put the original De Palma movie on and let people watch the original. If you're a fan of the original, it's not going to add anything to it. No. It's just going to be a meh. Yeah, it's there. It's okay. It passes the time, and there's nothing spectacular. But it just comes down to the whole how you feel about, for me anyway, how you feel about remakes and Does it really have to add anything to the original? Can't it just be a standalone movie, and you just know there is another version out there? And I'm not quite sure, because I'm always kind of thinking, okay, well, it's another movie, just treat it on its own and don't think about where it came from before.
Which is what I did.
Yeah, but then I kind of hark back into my head and going, yeah, Goggs, you tell yourself that, but you know that when you watch that piece of crap Rob Zombie Halloween movie, you were so enraged by it that it just not ruined the original, but it just ruined the whole myth behind the guy. So I'm a bit kind of flippy floppy on that one, I guess.
It's no Halloween remake, and it's no Friday the 13th remake. It did a better job than both of those. But then, if you think about both of those, they both tried to do something different, which is what they've been accused of not doing with this one. If they had done that with this one, it would be in exactly the same boat, and I probably would have hated it.
Yeah.
So
you
I think
can't keep us horror fans happy, can you?
No, I just think you're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't with a remake.
The
only one that's really ticked all the boxes for me so far is Evil Dead, and I've spoken to several people who really didn't like it. So it's like it is the most. It's got to be one of the most divisive film genres because there's so many different taste profiles to people, and we often go over this. It's just you're never going to score a big hitter, really.
Yeah,
I say everything's 3 stars.
I'll probably catch it when it's on Netflix. Because I was curious about it.
Yeah.
And then hearing the reviews, I was like, yeah, okay.
It is not better than the original.
I'm with you. I can't really remember the original. I know the original is now on the US Netflix. So I've put it in my queue to catch up with because I can remember some scenes from it, but I can't really remember.
Well, it's on the UK one as well, so I'm thinking I might rewatch it too. Which is interesting because I've noticed this annoying thing seems to happen when a sequel comes out of the cinema. The first version that's been on Netflix forever just suddenly disappears a week before. And at that point, you're like, well, I want to see the original before I go to the cinema to see the next one. I've got this with Anchorman. I swear it was on there. Now Anchorman 2's coming out. It's not there anymore.
It wouldn't surprise me.
No, it's just they can make more money because people are going to have to go and rent it then, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. It's getting done. I say just before we recorded, I was talking about how I'm trying to find The Collector and can't find it anywhere. So it's annoying me that they get the sequels on Netflix and stuff, and then you can't find the frickin' originals. Come on.
Not on iTunes?
No, I couldn't find it.
How weird.
Okay, maybe that's not true. Maybe I couldn't find it to the extent that I won't want to pay $15 to get it.
Okay.
Maybe I should kind of preface that, because obviously I could go to Amazon and just buy the damn thing if I really wanted to. But I don't want, as good as it may be, I don't want to I'll spend $3 or $4 maybe, but I'm not going to spend 15 just in case. I've been burned there before, so...
Of course, we do have a donate button, and that would very much help with this kind of thing if you're feeling generous this Christmas time. Sorry.
Well played, sir. Well played.
I don't think I've been begging and podcasting for years. Anyway, right. Have you caught anything recently?
I did. I have watched one movie. Unfortunately, the time of year it's been, the wife's got me running chores left, right and centre. So I did manage to kind of catch one movie. Oh, sorry. I finished watching one movie, which if you follow us on Facebook or like us on Facebook, you will have seen that I finished The Children, and I still hated it. Hated it.
But I've loved your responses on it. It's been very entertaining.
Oh my God. I don't get like that way on a movie. I think maybe the only other movie I've really hated was Crash, I think. The
Which
Paul
one?
Haggis one. The one that's all about racism.
Oh, right,
Is it called Crash?
Haven't watched that
I can't
one.
remember. I finished watching that and wanted to throw something through a wall. It just riled me up the wrong way. And
It's funny. There's 2 movies called Crash, and both of them rile up some people. It's quite funny.
The other one's the David Cronenberg one. The sex in a car one or something. Okay.
Yeah.
No interest to watch that, but maybe I will at one point.
I watched people walk out of that movie in the cinema. We found it hilarious. Not the movie, people walking out. Sorry, that makes it sound really bad.
God, we're getting a bad enough reputation as it is.
Exactly.
But no, so I finished watching that just because I wanted to, and oh my God. Anyway, go to Facebook and you'll see people.
Yeah.
But one I did, this is the last one I've managed to find through my old iTunes store history, was a movie called One Missed Call.
That's not my ringtone.
have one new message.
That's your voice. That's you. Dying.
Ever since that bizarre phone call, I keep seeing things.
Leanne got a phone call, and so did Shelley, right before they died.
The girl's right. There's got to be some kind of connection here.
It's like you get a voicemail.
Call came in 2 nights ago.
You hear your death.
They're getting your head back.
And then you die.
Look, these things work because they're getting your head back.
I'm gonna be next. I'll keep you safe. Any dead people call, we're not home.
This girl needs protection.
Everybody seems to be linked together somehow. We could trace it back to the source and find out who started this.
From 2008.
Rings a bell.
I think it's one of these Japanese remakes. It's certainly based on, I can't remember, I think it brought up graphic novels or comic books or something like that. It says at the beginning. Basically, all it is someone dies and then they call someone so that somebody gets a voicemail, and that voicemail is from the future, and they get to hear themselves seconds before they die themselves. So it basically tells you the date and the time and kind of some background information if you listen closely to the message as to when you're going to die.
Okay.
I don't know, 2008, you would think from watching this movie that in 2008 cell phones were the biggest, or mobile phones were the biggest thing in the entire world. I'm like, I think they were out for a few years before that, so you don't need to kind of be in your face, oh look, this is a cell phone, look what it can do. Oh, messages, it tells me date and time on the messages. Oh, this is awesome. It's like, really? Come on. I'm fairly sure we had them all a long time before 2008. IMDb gives it 3.8.
Oof.
I didn't think it was that bad, actually.
Oh.
There were some legitimately creepy moments. Because what happens is, this isn't really a spoiler, when you're the person who's, I guess, marked for death, you see some stuff. So people's faces look a bit creepy to you, look very kind of mask-like, very kind of scary. I can't quite picture where I've seen these masks before. It might be because I've seen the movie before and I'm just remembering it, or they're very famous, but the faces that you see are genuinely creepy. The Strangers, that's it. Sorry, it just came to me. It's like the masks that they wear in The Strangers, and kind of like on The Purge, and they're just genuinely creepy. So you see those kind of images, and that kind of freaks you out. The sound is just there ramped up to make you jump, and silly me with my headphones in and watching in a dark car. Yeah, I'm a sucker for the jumping bits. So it did get me at times. It felt really long. It's only like 80 minutes, 90 minutes long, and it felt a lot longer than that towards the end, because it really dragged it out a little bit. There are some very stupid plot points in it, but it was okay. I'd maybe give it a bit over a 5, maybe, and put it over there. Unfortunately, I don't know why they did it. Let's say maybe it's because it does it in the remake and stuff, or not the remake, the original source material. But I don't see why we really need the kind of protagonist's backstory. I don't think it really added anything to it, other than, again, this isn't really a spoiler, but she was tortured as a child in a little way, and I don't think it adds anything to it. I don't think you need to know that to appreciate what it goes to at the end, kind of what happens to her resolution of her character. But I guess there's probably a reason they put it in there and thought it might have worked, but or it might work for some people. The Wendy's out there go, what? But it was okay. What will it sound like when you die? Is the tagline. So
I think I've seen 10 minutes of the original and never got any further. Seems to ring a bell.
Ding ding.
Sorry, I tried that earlier, but I think you missed it.
So we mentioned this early, people. But yeah, that's really been it for mine. I've been trying to kind of plan some stuff through Netflix so I can watch when we're off for Christmas, and Netflix is a bit sucky lately. Again, they seem to be putting on lots of these 19-headed sharks versus 4-tentacled octopus type movies.
Yeah.
They're still flying out the woodwork. Thank you, Sci-Fi or Sci-Fi, for that. And obviously Netflix is buying them up left, right and centre because they must think that people watching 40 seconds of them is a good viewing statistic.
Yes.
I mean, and so that's all I'm getting. You may like. And you're like, no, I don't like. Then you realise that I turned Sharknado off after half an hour and haven't gone back to it.
Yes. They do need to look at the unfinished statistics, don't they, on people's watch lists?
Yeah, so and unfortunately, again, because of the time of year, with a lot of Christmas stuff going on. Extreme Christmas trees, that's worth a watch. I have to do these things, people. It's families for you. So, but my list is growing longer of recommendations from people. I've managed to source various things. So I will put it out here that hopefully by the time the new year comes round, I will have watched the original The Haunting.
Ah, cool.
I have managed to find it on Amazon streaming. I think it's like $2 on there.
Brilliant.
So I put it on my watch list. And hopefully I will get round to catching that.
I wish we had the same resources because I'd love to see that movie again. Very long time since I saw that.
Hearing the recommendations from yourself and from Karen, I definitely want to be checking it out. But also I've noticed there's a lot of older stuff on YouTube. I don't know how it gets on there or whether it's legal or not. But there's some Hammer horror stuff on there, and that YouTube are pushing that really heavily. Maybe it's my viewing activity, I don't know, seeing as Google knows more about me than I know about myself. It would appear, but it's kind of worth a look for the older stuff out there, people. But yeah, that's pretty much me. And no, I've not finished Contagious yet. That's still on my to-do list. I'm sorry.
I gotta hurry up.
I know. It's only got like a month or something.
Yep, January Pandemic comes out. If you look at our Facebook page, I've posted a link to the book trailer. I know that sounds weird, but it's just, it's a marketing thing, and they always do a trailer for Scott Sigler books. And this one's really cool, actually. So it's definitely worth a look. Not safe for work, but have a look. If that doesn't make you interested in the entire series, not much will. Also, this week, the Nocturnal audiobook was released in full on Audible. Finally, I've been waiting for this because reading takes me too long. I'm a pretty slow reader. I find I can read faster, but I tend to miss detail if I do that. So I tend to to read at a fairly leisurely pace, and I just don't get the time. And obviously with so much driving, as soon as something comes out as an audiobook, that's how I consume it. And Scott has realised he does so much writing. I mean, there's few writers who are as prolific and put out as much in 1 year. He never bloody stops, but up to now he's always recorded the audiobooks himself, which I love because he's a very enigmatic man. If you've never listened to his podcast, I highly recommend it. He's hilarious, but he does all the voices and they use effects and really good production on everything that's out there. But it simply takes too much time. And if we want the content and we want the stories, he needs to not be recording like Nocturnal something stupid like 40 hours or something like that. I can't remember now, but it's a long book.
I think they said something like 50 hours, something like that.
Is it 50 hours? Yeah. Okay, yeah.
It's a long time for recording.
It really is. And that's been chopped down. The original Nocturnal came out as a serialised podcast years ago, and I heard that. And I loved it. Absolutely loved it. But this has been completely rewritten, trimmed down, made a bit tighter. And so far, it's not really losing anything for it. There was some sort of crime family stuff and gang-related stuff that was in it, and it seems that that's been taken out because it made it a bit character-heavy. So what it does now is it focuses more on the core bad guys and the core good guys, and follows it that way. And it has tightened up. I'm not finished yet, but I'm honestly been mainlining it. I've been listening to about 10 hours a day, like driving to a job, then doing the job with headphones on, and then driving home from the job, and then sitting on the crapper listening to it. That's too much information.
Way too much information.
Sorry. Or cooking in the kitchen or whatever, and I've just got it playing and playing and playing, and then, anytime I drive anywhere, it goes on in the van. I've just been mainlining it for days. I'm about 2/3 of the way through, and it's fantastic. But back to my original point, is Scott's not recording himself. He's got a guy called Phil Gigante to do it, which is a brilliant name, and the man's got a fantastic voice. He does the character voices really well, and he's just got this smooth, soothing kind of bass level to his voice. It just doesn't take you out of it at all. You just absorb the story. So I think he's chosen really well for his production team. The only slight criticism I got is there are some lines that are thoughts. Somebody's thinking in their head, and they've put way too much reverb on. It's really hard to hear. That's the only criticism I got. Bloody brilliant book. Everybody should get it. So it's fairly pricey on Audible, but if you have an Audible account, it's one credit. Do it that way.
That's not bad. And plus, it's also been released as a weekly podcast, people.
It is, yeah. It's currently podcasting. We're up to episode 9, I think. Is it 9 now? Okay, cool.
8 or 9, I can't remember. I'm getting the weekly download.
Okay.
I've only got like 2 episodes in, because it's one of these ones that, unlike you, that I'll put it on when I'm driving around, but then I'm like, oh my god, what have I missed? Because I'll suddenly find myself dreaming about killing a driver in front of me or something. And then it'll just have to go back and rewind it, so I need to be...
You have to be concentrating.
Yes, like book conditions where I can just sit and focus on it. But the narrator does do an awesome job. He's got an excellent voice.
He has.
I think that also kind of makes you kind of go into a dream state as well. You're just listening to it and just getting all hypnotic and, this is wonderful.
It's funny, some people with spoken word in the van or in the car or whatever, it just sends them to sleep. For me, it's the absolute opposite. If I play music, I start to nod. And I could be talking death metal and I will start nodding off. Because it's the rhythmic, whatever it is, whether it's 500 beats a second or what, it doesn't matter. It will lull me into sleep. But if something engages my brain, hence the podcasting thing, that's why I'm so into it, I latch onto that, and that's what holds my focus. Because driving, I suppose, when you do 40,000 miles a year for 17 years, then driving really is an automatic response.
Yes.
Yeah, so I should stop gushing about that. But yes, Pandemic is out in January, so I'll probably do the same, wait for the audiobook to come out and then download that. Although I have the hardcover on pre-order because I always buy the books, but they just go sit pretty on the shelf and never get damaged because I don't read them.
Maybe one day, in retirement.
Who knows? Although I actually if you pre-order a book, you can ask to have a dedication written in the front, and the dedication I put in in the MVP series, the American Football in Space series that he writes. I made him write in my book, I promise I will come to the UK and drink beer with you, boss. Holding him to it.
I like it. It's contractual. It's written down.
Yeah, absolutely. So movies-wise, I've been fairly busy, although I have to apologise. I've not been watching enough shit. As a result, a B's for Boz is long overdue, but everything I've been watching has been just slightly too good. One thing I have been doing, my long-suffering partner, fiancée, she's been watching most things I watch with me, and she's beginning to develop a taste for horror. And I'll tell you one thing she's fucking amazing at, is she watches a movie and just, that's happening then. How the fuck did you know that? It's just like she can write these things. So I'm actually not making her, but I said, look, you've got to watch Saw, because everybody has this preconception about the Saw movies now. It's really gross. I said, you watch it. It's a really intelligent film, and it's not that gory. So she watched it. She was absolutely fine with it. So I said, okay, well, we'll ramp it up. Let's watch Saw 2. And then my plan is to get her through the entire series. In Saw 2, spoilers, if you haven't seen Saw 2 and you care, skip forward about 40 seconds, but I doubt you do. But the bit where John says, right at the beginning when the police officer comes in, don't worry, your son is somewhere safe. She went, he's in a safe somewhere then.
Oh, she didn't.
The fuck did you know that? I'm living with a detective.
You are.
Honestly, it must be that it was a fairly heavily laden line in the script. But if something's put in like that, which is fairly, a big foreshadow for something to come, she will spot it, and I never do. So it's like, oh, you have to wait and see. I can't believe you got that.
Yeah, I never got that at all the first time I watched it.
Amazing. So if she guesses some of the twists and turns, I'm going to be like super impressed. I've actually got this thing now where I just want to get the most twisty, mind-bending sort of plot contrivey movies and just see if she can suss those before the end as well.
Hey, she's got to watch the Final Destination stuff then.
Yes.
Never get them.
Oh, that's
Or
fun.
she might get some of the blatant ones, but...
The first movie of those, we went to the cinema, I think we pissed everybody off because we're just going, yeah, he's going to go that, but that broom's going to fall over, it's going to hit that, then the car's going to roll down the hill, and that truck's going to explode, that's going to fire a gas canister in the air, it's going to land on that building will collapse, then there'll be an earthquake, we were just getting absolutely stupid with it. We thought it was
As
fun.
the series does towards the end of them.
Yeah. So another thing I've been trying to watch. I did it in like 3 or 4 sittings. I seem to keep getting interrupted, but I've finally finished the film Rabies.
אתם בטוחים שאת הדרך?
כן. או. בובה! תקשיבו, אם תוך 10 דקות היער הזה לא מתחלף לבניינים, אני חוזר.
מוקד, כאן 320 שומע.
תגיעו בדחיפות לשמורת השועלים.
היא לא סגורה?
Which is made by the same guys who've made this Big Bad Wolves film that you are desperate to see.
Oh, right, okay. January, it comes out in January.
January, yep.
I can't remember the date, but yes.
Having seen this one, I'm bang up for it because I think they did a really good job. I've looked at IMDb and stuff, and it's fairly divisive. You've got loads of people hated it, and then there's loads of people who love it possibly too much because it's the first... I'm not sure if it's the first horror film or if it's the first slasher film to come out of Israel.
Right, okay.
Some people are saying it's the first horror film to come out of Israel, and I need to check into that, I'm not sure. But the first thing I can say is the title has absolutely nothing to do with the content of the movie.
Oh, right, okay.
Now, one thing I know about Hebrew is that the words in Hebrew have... This creates another problem I'll get to. There's several English words for one Hebrew word, and it all comes down to context and usage as to what they might mean, which is why there's so much hoo-ha about sort of translating the Bible, because one word could be this, it could be that. I translate it this way, and if you look back at the Hebrew, blah, 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 and it always goes down that path. So maybe rabies means something else, and it's just the way it's been translated forward. But Lavinia actually made an observation. She said, well, maybe it's rabbis. I said, no, but that doesn't make sense either. Still got nothing to do with the content of the movie, and I'm sure that E wouldn't be there, but that made me chuckle. Anyway, it's set up on the premise of there's something nasty in the woods, and all these different people go to these woods. It's one of these I'd love to talk about more, and we always end up in this situation of I want to go through the movie, tell you this bit, talk about the different parts, but you haven't seen it. And if you haven't seen it, most of our listeners haven't seen it either, and I'm not going to spoil it because it's such a under-the-radar film. But it's definitely worth a look. There's some...
Is it spelled Rabies?
Yes.
It is, okay.
Yeah. There's no apostrophe.
No, that's fine. I just wanted to try and see if I could track it down.
Okay. Yeah, it's on Netflix.
Is it?
Your Netflix, I believe, is on as well. So I've finished that today. But saying about the Hebrew thing, but because there's so many less words, if that's correctly put together, the subtitles go quick. There's a couple of times I had to rewind to read the sentences because it's a fast language. But there's some great kills. There's the whole way through you're going, what the fuck is going on? What? And you're trying to guess where it's going and you can't. There's some really standout funny moments in it as well. And I think they've got a really good mix of... It's called a slasher movie, but I wouldn't call it a slasher movie. The premise is that it's a slasher movie. Okay. And I think that's where it comes from. But if you're actually going to define it, that isn't accurate. And actually, it almost broke me towards the end as well. There's a really touching emotional scene in it, which really tugged at my heartstrings. So yeah, it's got a lot of merit. And if they've taken some of that and upped their game with Big Bad Wolves, then I'm really interested to see that.
Cool, and I can't find it on Netflix. Sucks. Anyway.
That's odd. I might have to look into this.
It's like we talked about before on Netflix. You'll be there one day and then they'll pull it the next minute. And you just never know what's coming up and what's coming down.
Yeah. So the other thing, there's one film missing. I was sort of on a bit of a home invasion kick. We talked about The Purge 2, and obviously I saw You're Next not so long ago.
Yeah.
And everybody has been nagging me that I have to see Inside. Now, it's not that I hadn't put an importance on it. It's just it wasn't anywhere, and I had to really search for this movie. And I've actually just finished watching it today. That's how up to the minute I've had to be with it.
And we cross our fingers.
I'm not going to talk about it yet. So a film I watched before this is called Open House.
You talked to him recently? I told him I was selling the house. He said I was being overly emotional. You could tell him he can keep paying his half of the mortgage. Maybe it's a good thing, like a clean break.
Here is the kitchen.
I love the marble.
And check out the garden.
I want this house.
Wow, great.
I just have one question. Do you ever get tempted?
Okay,
You don't find me attractive?
wait, I think there's someone here. Is anyone? Oh, jeez.
Hello? Carl? Where are you?
Let's do something fun.
Alice? Do you know if Alice is home?
She's not gonna be back anytime soon.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, nice to meet you.
Thank you so much for inviting us.
Of course. We love meeting new people.
And it's a very B movie.
Okay.
And I think going in, I was thinking, yeah, potential B is for Boz, but it's neither good enough nor bad enough to really put in that bracket.
Okay.
The conceit is I think the idea is that a lady and a partner are split up. He's moved out. She's got left with a house, so she's trying to sell the house. Starts with an estate agent showing people around, and you see a figure in the background, and he sort of sees it out the corner of his eye. Then he goes away. The owner comes back. Oh, how'd it go? People aren't impressed with the house. They're doing that whole, the pool's not very big, and the garden needs a lot of upkeep. And you're like, douchebags.
Yeah.
So it looks like it's not selling. Estate agent leaves, and then this guy comes out of the cellar. And chaos ensues, really. And then he has a partner who then turns up, and they basically sort of live in this house and pretend to live in this house and get up to various mischief. And it's got some... The concept's got promise, but I don't think they follow it through particularly well.
Right, okay.
It's great that the guy who first goes in the house, he's clearly a very damaged individual, and the performance is actually really good on his part. And there are some genuine little sort of tension bits, but it all sort of fizzles away into nothing towards the end, and it's a bit of a letdown.
Really?
So I'd only give it, I don't know, 2.5 stars, 3 stars. I'll say if you're doing 5 stars, you can't have 2.5. Because that would be 5 out of 10 then, and we don't do that. No, but it's a middle of the road 3-star movie. There are worse ways to spend your time, but I won't rave about it either.
But it doesn't fit in the B's for Boys.
No, it's not
so
that.
It's got some merit in it then.
It's fairly well made, and
yeah,
there's a couple of kills, and
I'm just looking at it. It's got the True Blood people in it.
Yes, yeah. Oh, yes, Suki Stackhouse and her boy are in it. Yeah. I think, to be honest, they are planted to raise the profile of the movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. This is probably how the movie got funded.
Very possibly, yes. I'm sure if you dug around, it would be lots of, I'll scratch your back. So, that's a home invasion-y type movie.
Now, are you coming along the lines of home invasion movies now? Are you starting to change your viewpoint on them, or...?
What it is I'm giving it... Your Next is making me give it a chance, and unfortunately I ran out of time because before we recorded this, I wanted to have seen The Strangers as well.
Oh, right, yeah.
And I didn't get a chance to do that. So I'm going to be watching that just to sort of finish this little niche corner I'm looking at, really. But Inside, strictly speaking, is a home invasion movie. And fuck me, it's the best one I've ever seen. I was not in the least bit disappointed. Some gloriously creepy little moments before any blood is spilt. It has you on the edge of your seat, and it's like, oh. I will never look at a knitting needle the same again. I can say that much. It certainly didn't go in the direction I was expecting. Whenever you're sort of lonely person in house under peril, you're thinking, well, there's not much scope for kills here, is there? But people keep turning up. More meat for the grinder. Thank you very much. And it is brutal, but it's brilliantly done. Not for the faint of heart by any stretch of the imagination, but there's some real heart in it as well, and some amazing performances. The only problem is the way I had to get hold of it, and this is something else I want to talk about, actually. There's a problem you're having with trying to find movies. Doing this, Blockbuster's closed. Everybody knows. Everybody's seen the Shining episode of South Park. Where have you seen that one?
No, I haven't.
Okay, Randy. Is it Carl's dad, Randy? I always get mixed up. No, it's Stan's dad, Randy.
Yeah.
Buys a branch of Blockbuster for a bargain price of $10,000. Yes, we're going to make millions! And basically he just starts manning the store, but nobody ever comes in for anything. And he starts to see ghosts in the hallway. Ghosts of DVD renters past. It's just brilliant. It's exactly what Blockbuster became. Interestingly, my other half sister is in the UAE, and she just managed to see The World's End, which was filmed in my hometown, and she put on Facebook today, I can't believe Blockbuster Video's still there. And then my reply on Facebook was, sorry, I was in Letchworth this week. Blockbuster's gone. Closing down sale was this week. So it isn't still there, I'm sorry. Obviously it was at the time of filming, but anyway.
Yeah.
Very long about way of saying I can't just go and buy DVDs easily unless I go to some big shopping centre or whatever, and everything's online now. So I look for online, where can I pay for and rent this movie? And you cannot find it. Take it as an admission of guilt or whatever. I don't even know if where I found it was that lascivious, but I had to look at other ways to find a way to see this movie because nobody wanted to take my money, and this is a problem.
Yes.
Even that little website, I feel a little bit guilty. I can't remember what the exact website was, but it was a UK-based horror film streaming site which did have some of these more divisive titles on it, and I said, nah, it's not enough. They haven't got enough of a film selection.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it now, yeah.
Yeah, and see, now I feel like a dick, because I should have given them some money, and I should have rented some movies from them, because I don't think they're there anymore. I might be wrong.
Oh, really? They went that quick?
I would try, because I couldn't remember the name of it. I was trying to web search for it, UK horror streaming. Nothing comes up, other than, torrent this, torrent that, which I don't get into.
Yeah.
So I'm actually feeling a bit like, oh, God, we should have supported them a bit better. Because obviously until they started to get some money in, then they weren't going to be able to win licenses for more movies.
Yeah.
And it's like we desperately need something like that, where the more unusual titles, which are never going to appeal to the massive mainstream, somebody can at least host and sell them to twisted fucks like me. And,
no, but I think you're right. Whether it's the movie companies themselves or the people who have the rights to sell the DVDs should be promoting the absolute crap out of this stuff on their sites. And saying, hey, okay, we're not going to sell the rights to Amazon, we're not going to sell the rights to Netflix or anybody else, but hey, for $5, come here and we'll rent it. You can rent it from us, or you can buy it from us.
Movie, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, they're missing out on so much money as a result, because like I said before, I'm not going to go just blindly spend $15 on a movie based on, okay, I probably shouldn't be saying this, but based on a recommendation, unless it's like a recommendation that you really trust and you're like, you know what, everybody's telling me this is awesome.
Yeah.
It's the only way I'm going to get it. I'm going to break down and do it.
I just want to stream it once, I just want to rent it.
If I want to go into Paramount Site Direct or Dimensions or Lionsgate or whatever, why the hell are they not doing this? It just seems to be ridiculous. And like you say, it's driving you towards, or driving some people towards, having to find it through methods they would normally not use.
Yeah.
And I would say, I want to find the collector. I don't want to pay $15 for the collector. I want to spend a couple of bucks for it and rent it. Give me the chance to do that, people. Stop trying to force me to buy your damn DVD because you're not going to get my money, and it's just going to pee me off.
DVDs are going to be dead before very long, and we've known for years that this is the way movies were going, and it's a foregone conclusion. But I mean, look at the dickheads at HBO. The Game of Thrones season 3 or whatever it was came out last year, and I didn't have a TV service. I wanted to go somewhere and pay online per episode, and I'd have paid pretty much top dollar because I really wanted to see it.
Yeah.
Not an option. And then the news comes out the next day, Game of Thrones, the most pirated thing ever in the world ever. And the guy from HBO went, yeah, I know. Well, I'm sorry, you're a dick, because there's no way you're making so much money from your HBO subscriptions that it covers the loads of other people around the world who, through the magic of the internet, could buy it the day it's released and watch it. In fact, even if they'd released it and said, well, you can't rent the episode, but you can buy it, I'd probably have bought an episode per week because I enjoy it that much. So it's like these people, I don't know who's running these companies, but put somebody normal in charge who knows how to make money would be my advice. There's no way it's fiscally more viable to just do it on a subscription basis. It can't be. So, yeah. Anyway, rant over. Inside's a brilliant movie, and I do recommend it to the more hardened of the horror fans. It is. That list of sort of best horror movies, it definitely should have been on there. So,
Rick, this is a warning for you. Do not, I repeat, do not put this movie in the DVD player.
No.
End of warning.
I don't think he'd even put the DVD in his house. So.
No. Do not even look at the DVD cover. For the people out there who don't know what Inside is, this is why it really does belong in the upper ends of the horror category of extreme. The brief synopsis is basically 4 months after the death of her husband, a woman on the brink of motherhood is tormented in her home by a strange woman who wants her unborn baby. That's all we'll say.
There we go.
Pun intended. If you can stomach this, then of that type of movie, then it is well worth a watch, people. It's an amazing movie, and we talk time and time again, when the French do movies right, knock it out of the park.
So I also like the play on the title as well, Inside or L'Intérieur. Obviously, it all happens within this house.
Yes.
There's quite a few little references to it throughout. It's a clever title, I think.
It is.
Or, I would also rename it Smokes and Scissors. But anyway. Sorry, crass.
Okay.
In fact, I'd said to Gordon on Twitter that I was watching this movie currently. I'll be with him when I'd finished. And sort of left a bit of a gap, and then the next message I think was something along the lines of "fuck me with a knitting needle."
Yes, it was.
That's kind of it for my watching. I did have one other point I wanted to mention.
Yeah.
I mean, people are listening to us, and we love it, and we're getting more and more all the time. We're getting more and more followers on Twitter and Facebook, and thank you, everybody. I wanted to mention, I always feel a bit bad because I don't do enough research on the things I'm watching. I know there are a lot of shows you'll listen to, and they're basically, some of them have got their brains hardwired into IMDb. That can actually irritate me when I'm listening to a podcast if I realise that the host is just literally sitting there reading IMDb the whole time. And, you know, obviously this person was in this, and then they were in that. And, you know, it's obviously they're just reading the cast list and clicking links. So it's not to be said that we don't use it, but I tend to prefer to just do this kind of rambling. I've seen this is what I think. Occasionally I'll look up who a director is. And that might annoy some people. So what I wanted to say is, if you're looking for that kind of in-depth research and history and all the, you know, this different kind of thing, then I would advise you to look at our Twitter account and look at the people we are following, because there are so many links on there to real horror buffs who are doing some great work. They do a lot of research and stuff like that, and there's some really interesting links. We repost links fairly often.
Yes.
But there's so many. There's just so many. And the reason I'm mentioning this is I sometimes look at it and I feel a bit like, oh God, there's just so much we're not covering, because there's a lot going on in the horror world. But we can only do so much. We can only watch so much. And at the end of the day, as it says on the synopsis, it's an opinion-based show, and it's us sharing our experiences of what we do get to in the horror genre.
Yes, I think we've said from the very beginning that we're not proper reviewers, and we're not going to be providing people with the news and the box office stats and all that stuff. Yeah, we use IMDb because IMDb is one of the, maybe not better resources, but more available resources that's there, and you can have a bit of a, I like it because you can have a bit of a laugh with it.
Yes.
Just how stupid the synopsis will be or anything like that. It's completely the opposite, but yeah, I think we've been trying to be more prolific in posting more news from other sites. And pointing directions towards that, because I mean, if I could do this full time, heck yeah, I'd be doing it full time.
Yes,
of course I would. Unfortunately, at the moment, I haven't won the Kentucky Powerball $400 million jackpot. Yeah, there's always this week. Who knows, people? And if that was to happen, then heck yeah, I'd be doing this full time.
Would you hire me?
Of course I would. Of course I would. You'd be the first call. Once I'd moved to the other country and no the family that I didn't really want to speak to could find me. But I mean, we do what we do, and we do it because we love it, and we want to get movies is the best way to share the horror genre. I think there's obviously books and stuff that take a lot longer, and when I do read a book and want to share it, and if people want to send in recommendations for books, please do. It might take a longer time to read them, but I'm going to try and read them. When I can. It's just me personally, I tend to go through fits and starts with books. It's a complete where I am in my life stage as to what's going on. And when you leave work at 6:30 in the morning and don't get home from basketball practice till 9:30 at night, the chances of reading a book for 4 months are a little bit slim. But when that's out and I'm at home at 6 o'clock at night and you've got a couple hours to kill while the kids are playing around, heck yeah, I'm going to read a book.
Yeah.
That's the way I can appreciate the horror genre without inflicting it on other people in the house, and still get those kicks. So I think we do what we do, and we're now on episode 18, excluding specials and all those little bits and stuff that we've done, and I'm sure people love us for what we do. But yeah, there are definitely other sites out there that are promoting themselves heavily. And we will share those links when we can, especially if it's something of interest to us, and we will make sure we post it and have something of interest to our listeners as well. Speaking of which, we did make a post, or I made a post on Facebook about finding a link of 10 Australian horror movies. There's 10 Australian horror movies,
really?
People. Did you know that? There are 10 of them. And The Clinic wasn't one of them, so there's obviously like 11. So these kind of things that we find out there and we'll share and kind of riff on and everything, but yeah. I think our Twitter account is a good place to look to see who we follow.
Yeah.
And find all those news sites and distributors and stuff that follow us. Distributors, send stuff our way, please. We won't always just tell you a movie that it's shite. You've got an honest opinion, whether you like it or not.
Yes.
But guess what? If you go to a film festival with a piece of shit movie and no one claps it at the end, you're going to know it's a piece of shit movie.
Oh, that's very true.
But that was very well said, sir. Good point.
Okay. Just to recommend a couple, I would say the Horror Society, very good Twitter link, always posts going up on there for things to look at. And much to my chagrin, I haven't ordered one yet, but Scream Magazine looks really cool as well. I need to get my hands on some copies of that, because they do post some good stuff.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Unfortunately, the international subscription is incredibly high.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, which makes sense because you've got to post internationally, and it's not cheap to throw something in the mail to the States. But yeah, I keep meaning to check out Scream Magazine, and I'm hoping soon that I'm spending some money on these kind of things that I want to do, because I want to support Scream Magazine because it looks like a really good magazine.
It does.
And I want to support the Sugar
Movie
Monster
Monsters.
magazine.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. I really want to support that as well.
Yeah.
I haven't finished reading that, but what I have read of it so far is amazing. I mean, if you guys can find this magazine, it is well worth it. You'll pay a lot more for a lot less for other types of magazines.
Yeah.
So these guys really have a love and a passion for doing it. So yeah, I want to support these guys as well. But
And if you want to know about that one, look at our Twitter, and you want to be following Cyber Schizoid.
Yes.
He's the publisher, producer. It's his baby.
It's his baby.
He's a very nice
He
man,
does a
and I've
lot.
met him. So yeah, go have a look at that. Also, I've just seen Film for a Fright Fest have tweeted the Raid 2 will run for a pulverizing 148 minutes. Fuck, that's going to be a lot of punching and a lot of blood.
148 minutes? Holy shit, that's long.
It's going to be awesome.
I'm guessing that's because movies that play in the Asian market tend to run really, really, really long. I don't know.
I think it's just, having met Gareth Evans, say it like that.
My name's Gareth Evans, you're listening to The Little Pot of Horrors.
I think he's sort of the kind of guy in the edit suite's like, no, you can't lose that bit. No, that was cool, that took ages. No, this is awesome. No, look how he does, no, leave that in as well.
Yeah.
I think
and
he
then
just
what the
didn't wanna cut
runtime is, the
anything.
runtime is.
I have no problem with this. I am very much looking forward to seeing that movie. We should probably shut up now, shouldn't we?
Yeah, we should. Let's get the hell out of here. And if we time this right and I get it out in time, this should hit right before Christmas, but certainly people might listen to it between Christmas and New Year. So people, I wish you have a very safe and happy Christmas holidays, December 25th. Just have a very happy and safe day.
Yeah.
And have a very good New Year as well.
Yes.
Be responsible, be safe. And we will be back with you in the new year with hopefully a lot more fun and ramblings for you all to enjoy.
We shall. May Santa bring you many disgusting things in your stocking. That sounds wrong, doesn't it? Sorry.
It does sound. And on that note, quickly, yeah, any feedback, etc., thelittlepodofhorrors@gmail.com, blah, 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 blah. You know what it is. Go to littlepodofhorrors.com and you will find all the links and all that fun stuff. Or stay to the end and you might get some more information and maybe an outtake or two. So now we will definitely get out of here. So thank you again, sir, for an entertaining show.
No worries. Merry Christmas to you and Happy New Year.
And to yourself, sir. Bye-bye.
Bye. Where'd I put that knitting needle?
If you would like to send an email to the show, please do so at thelittlepodofhorrors@gmail.com. Also, why not go along to the website at www.thelittlepodofhorrors.com, and from there you can find links to our Twitter, Facebook, Google+, forum and blog page. Thanks for listening.